Chair now recognizes Ms. Stefanik of New York for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to ask both Secretary Austin and General Milley about the unique role the 10th Mountain Division and Fort Drum play in great power competition. I recently had the opportunity to visit with Major General Anderson, who's doing a great job after the tremendous leadership by General Beagle up at Fort Drum, and we discussed General Anderson's Alpine initiative to return the 10th Mountain Division to its roots of cold weather operations and mountaineering. Given that both you, Mr. Secretary, and you, General Milley, were commanding generals at Fort Drum, you're very familiar with the post, with the unique strengths of 10th Mountain. What role do you see the 10th Mountain Division and Fort Drum specifically playing in outcompeting our adversaries in the Arctic?
I think 10th Mountain Division can play a significant role and does play a significant role in that endeavor. I would also say that they're a multi-purpose division. It can, as they've demonstrated, they can go a number of places and be very, very effective because their strength is the quality of their people and their leadership, and that's been demonstrated over and over again. So.
General Milley.
Yeah, thanks, Congresswoman. A couple of things. First, they're trained in Arctic operations, so that's a key thing, and as we know, the Arctic's opening up. Secondly, is they're light infantry, so they can rapidly deploy. In fact, it's the most deployed division in the Army. The rapid deployment is key, and that acts as a strategic deterrent. They were one of the first units we deployed to Europe. In fact, we've got a unit just coming back from the 10th, and there's another unit going over from the 10th over to the Ukraine area. The third thing is they're optimized for urban combat as light infantry. They're very effective, and as the world becomes ever more urbanized, the probability is higher rather than lower that decisive fights, battles will occur in highly dense urban areas. So 10th Mountain has a lot of unique capabilities, and they bring to the fight rapid deployment, urban combat, mountain warfare, winter warfare, and it's a great outfit, it's a great port, it's a great place to work and live and serve our country.
Yeah, thank you, General Milley and Secretary Austin. You took my line, General Milley. I always like to point out that it is the most deployed division in the U.S. Army since 9/11, and we're grateful for so many military families that I've gotten to know over many years. I want to shift gears here, still related to Fort Drum, but specifically missile defense. Iran has never been closer to a nuclear weapons capability and has demonstrated a space launch capability, which has a direct technical application to an ICBM. For over a decade, it's been U.S. policy to be ready for a third homeland missile defense site should the Iran threat mature. The previous NORTHCOM commander testified as long ago as 2015, an additional missile defense site would give us increased inventory and increased battle space with regards to a threat coming from the direction of the Middle East. And while you have both Iran increasing their development of nuclear weapons capabilities, as well as North Korea continue to develop their ballistic missile capabilities, I want to get your response to Fort Drum has been designated as a potential third site. Why that would be important to include a third homeland site to provide with more confidence to intercept any potential missile. Secretary Austin.
I'll certainly defer to the work that we're doing being completed and looking at the results of that work. But certainly Fort Drum is has tremendous capability and a great community. So I think if that site is chosen, I think it would be a good choice.
That site has been chosen by the Department of Defense. That was announced a few years ago. We worked on that in the NDA. It's also current in previous NDA. Fort Drum has been designated as the potential third site. General Milley.
Potential third site.
Potential third site. Yeah. So, what is the process of ensuring that we're focused to meet the needs, not of, the past, but of the future, 2030s and 2040s, because it takes a long time for that infrastructure investment, for that to be potentially completed. So what is the timeline, General Milley or Secretary Austin?
I don't think a timeline has actually been established, but I can tell you that what we're talking about and what you're talking about, I think, is a project that's been out there for quite some time on the books. You're looking at probably 20 to 40 silos, something like that, and then the missiles to go with it. It would probably take a decade to actually put that in. It would take billions. I don't know exact cost figures, but it would take billions. The question is it strategically worthwhile? I personally think yes, because we have a missile threat from North Korea, but we have an arrayed system of sensors in the Western Pacific all the way to California, and we've got missile capabilities that can engage North Korea. When you're dealing with China and Russia, you're dealing with an assured second strike because of the volume. But in Iran, if they were to develop the ICBM level of missiles, which they haven't yet, but if they do, and they're developing the piece parts with space launch vehicles, and if they were to then develop a nuclear weapon to put on top of that, that's where it becomes important. Now, are they on the road to do that? I think that's a choice that people in a judgment that the intelligence community and others would have to make. I personally think developing those systems on the East Coast would be helpful, and it would further enhance the protection of the United States.
Thank you very much.
Generally, it's time